Hi, this is Lara at Elliott Wave Stock Market with your daily analysis for Wednesday 7th of May, recording the video almost 8 PM Eastern Standard Time. I was expecting price to start with a wee bit of downward movement and then turn higher, which is exactly what's happened. It's either going to be range bound for another 2 or 3 days before it breaks out to the upside, or it could break out tomorrow. If tomorrow we see price move above 1891.33 and we see an increase in upward momentum, then I'll expect that it's broken out of the range and we're going to see higher prices, and the target is 1921. Otherwise, we may see another 2 or 3 days of sideways movement before we get that break. Let's have a look at the daily chart. This is the bullish wave count. The difference between the bull and bear wave counts is in the historic analysis. You'll find that on the right-hand sidebar under categories on the website. This wave count and the bearish wave count both expect that an ending contracting diagonal began here. Ending diagonals must subdivide. All these subwaves have to be zigzags. So we have a zigzag for 1, 2, and 3, 4, and an incomplete zigzag for 5. Within this final zigzag, the B wave was either over here or it's continuing sideways as a triangle. That triangle scenario is what the alternate wave count looks at. At this stage, if it was over here, then within minute wave 5, minuet wave C would reach equality in length with minuet A at 1921. If the main hourly wave count turns out to be correct, and we should know tomorrow, then when we get towards the end of the C wave, I'll use the ratio between 3, 1 and 5 to add to the target calculation, so it may widen to a small zone or it may change. I would expect upward movement to end when it comes to touch this 1-3 pink trend line of the contracting diagonal, because that's pretty typical for contracting diagonals. If it doesn't end there, it could possibly overshoot. Sometimes they do that. The diagonal is contracting and the third wave is shorter than the first wave. Because the third wave may never be the shortest, the final fifth wave is limited to no longer than equality with 3. That limit is at 1973.72. When the diagonal is complete, then intermediate wave 1, which is a very long wave, will finally be complete, and we'll expect a downward correction to last at least a few weeks, if not months, for intermediate wave 2, and that should break through support at the lower edge of the dark blue channel. So 2 should break out of the channel containing 1, and it should end and find support at the lower of the double aqua blue trend lines. Let's look at this first idea on the hourly chart where it sees minuet B within the zigzag over here, this point down here. So if C has begun, then we have 1 and a second wave correction over here, and we need a third wave. At 1898, the third wave would reach equality in length with the first wave. The third wave should show an increase in upward momentum beyond that seen for the first wave. That should begin to happen tomorrow if this wave count's correct. So if this wave count's correct, we should see movement above 1891.33 probably tomorrow, and we should see an increase in upward momentum. If we don't see those two things, then this alternate would be entirely possible. The subdivisions are pretty much the same. It's possible that minuet wave B was not over here, and all the sideways movement is either a contracting or barrier triangle. And this idea would expect probably 1 or 2 more days, probably more likely at least 2 more days, of choppy, overlapping sideways movement in an ever-decreasing range. There are 2 structural possibilities for this triangle. It could be a contracting triangle, which is most common, in which case D may not move beyond the end of B above 1891.33. It could also be a barrier triangle, in which case D should end about the same level as B, as long as the BD trend line is essentially flat. Unfortunately, what that means in practice is D can move very, very slightly beyond the end of B. As long as that trend line is flat, then it could still be a barrier triangle. So this invalidation point is not black and white. That's the only grey area in all of the rules for Elliott wave. For both the contracting and barrier triangle, the E wave may not move beyond the end of the C wave below 1859.79. That's all for me today with your S&P analysis, and I hope that all our members are having a fabulous day.